So welcome everyone to the 213th MLP Drawing School
Whoa.
live critique stream. What exactly is this? This I just told you. Like I was reading your mind. Yeah,
Whoa.
we're from the MLP Drawing School. We critique little horses that are posted there and onto here and over on our Discord, and we answer art questions. We are certainly not experts, but dang it, we're willing to try to do something, so let's give it a whirl.
Yeah.
We might have been doing this for a while now. Maybe. So let's kick this off. Uh,
I came back. You go.
okay. First two horses. We're just going to do these together because similar issues, similar responses going on here. So the top one is by Phoenix Fire, and it's I drew this the bare bones of an image, but something feels off. I could use some help. And then the second one is drawn by Magnificent Mr. T. I drew this pony base. How does it look? Please give me suggestions on things to draw and things I can improve on.
Well, thank you both so much for coming, and thank you for your submissions.
So if you're looking for things to draw, go check out our bi-weekly challenges. They're starting up again.
Thanks to a wonderful pixie.
Thanks to our wonderful pixie, indeed.
Yes.
They're useful well of challenges to draw. Might not be 100% inspiration of, oh my gosh, I should draw them in 3/4 pose, mount like standing on a rock looking over a cliff. No, but more along the lines of giving you sort of an idea of how you should be pushing your art or trying something new. So hopefully that helps. If you're ever looking for suggestions on, weird things to draw, my favorite suggestion is look at pictures of cats and dogs and redraw them as ponies, because ponies are just cats.
It's always the best choice. I mean, come on. So I see we got two people working on some lovely draw overs.
I was trying to do in the bottom one, but then my tablet isn't working for some reason, so. Uh,
I ran out of Control Z again.
Oh no.
Just imagine it disappearing. Or are cats just ponies? These questions and more next time on Reboot.
Oh no.
Mr. Birkenwall,
I'd say,
you have a submission, don't you?
Yes, they do. They do. And M just submitted something too as well in our voice chat.
aha! I can move my tablet. Yay!
So for these two images, I'd say this is a great start. This is a great base and a working thing. I'm gonna bring up what Q Pencil Case so cutely drew over here. It's adorable. It's really funny. Basically, it's chicken scratch. Chicken scratch is when you draw something and you kind of try to meticulously place every line by doing a tiny stroke each time to get the thing looking absolutely perfect when you draw. That's actually extremely counterproductive in most drawing situations. What we want to look at when we're drawing and sketching, especially sketching, well, also in line art too. Really, it's universally used in art. Is kind of more of a swooshing motion. So, you know, long, nice swooshes. You're using your arm. You're using every joint. You get these nice curves. And with sketching, you may think like, oh, I can't control it. The control comes with time. So, for a circle, for example, I'm gonna use swooshes. Let me just erase this. I'm gonna use swooshes to make a circle. So it's like, oh, that's not a circle, you'll say. It's just a curve. Oh, but look, I can continue and I can correct with these nice swooshes and turn something into a circle that I can use. And it's messy, sure, but I understand it as a circle. It looks like a circle, and I use it as a base in my sketch. And that's really all it's there for. It's there to be your base. You're never gonna, do the most perfectest circle, but it takes time and practice, and you just get those swooshy motions, and you'll learn how to do curves, and soon you'll make more advanced swooshies where they curve like this, and you'll learn to midway change the curve, and The idea is to be fluid with your strokes.
Absolutely. Yeah. How I do. Oh, now I can't erase this. Thanks, Dropper.
No
I know I said
problem.
that like 5 times in the last stream. It's going to be a running theme now. Yeah. The way I do my hooves is much the same way. It's like a. I have a place to draw. It's like I have the legs, and then like the hooves themselves are like very much like a single stroke, and then I'll sort of round it out like this. Ooh.
Yeah, if you're having trouble making long, swooshy, clean strokes, try drawing on a bigger piece of paper and take up all of the paper
Yeah.
when you draw, and that'll
Yeah, you
let
don't want to
you.
be drawing super small. You're just sort of like limiting yourself with that.
Yeah, it'll let you draw more from your shoulder than from your wrist and get bigger, more fluid lines and stuff. On this one, I just did a bit of a draw over, just looked at the underlying shapes a little bit more. I've drawn sort of on the top here in blue, how I'm sort of thinking for like, the shape of the body, how these connect and all that sort of stuff. It's just stuff that'll come in time as you draw and keep looking at references and stuff. But yeah, just keep going. You'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
And keep submitting stuff to our Reddit and our Discord if you want.
Hmm.
All right. So how about this? I guess they're about the same, aren't they?
I'd say the advice applies to both of them. You both are starting out great. Keep drawing, and we can't wait to see more.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's always so fun to see new people drawing.
Do you have any specific points in the CPC since you've been drawing away?
Sorry, just a second.
Okay.
I don't know who Joe is, but they need to relax.
Hey,
Sorry.
Joe, where you gonna go with that gun of yours?
I thought I muted myself, but I think I didn't. I was just making some different proportions. So this pony has a big head and thin legs. And my ponies tend to be more chubby. You can also just have fun with proportions. You can make a really long, slim pony, or a chibi pony with longer legs. Just make different things. Have fun. And all my sketches around it are just me trying different proportions.
All right. And shall we move on? All right, Mr. Brick and Wall, you're here, and that means you get preferential treatment. So let's move to yours. Theirs is the one with the full color, and it's pulling along the rabbit.
Isabel.
I'm sorry, I don't play Animal Crossing. I don't have a Switch.
That's so good.
Or a Wii U. Or
we can just shame him for a little bit.
yeah. This is my life. Shameful.
I thought this horse looked familiar.
When you give in and start playing, make sure you get apples. I need some apples.
I need to buy the entire system first.
Well, then you can buy the Animal Crossing Switch. That's adorable.
Y'all are the worst.
We know.
Alright, so Mr. Brickenwall, you got any questions in particular on this one? Looks like it is titled Too Much to Drink. I also wanted primary light. Been a while. Crocodiles. Pretty happy with how this came out, but had a difficult time drawing clouds. And to me, they look kind of flat and lifeless. I also wanted primary light source to be coming from the side of the building, but everything is too well lit to really tell, and that's making the area overly bright to compensate. Cool. Let's get to work. Let's get down these ears. man, we got two different styles of clouds. And now there's boops and bobbles happening at the bottom of my screen. Totally off canvas.
Don't worry about it. Just, don't worry about it.
I worry about it, Allie. I worry about it. So, I think your eyes are just a little wide, and it's causing your corner of the eyes to just sort of mate up into where the ear would be. I would just shrink the eyes a little bit. I also wanted to convey it was a boardwalk at the beach with wooden planks. Yeah, I don't get that at all. The entire thing happening down here makes no sense to me.
Yeah, it's because the disappearing point is going away from like the opposite direction from what it should be. So typically, I feel like this is sort of what you want from the disappearing point, this sort of area over here. So everything should be coming, well, maybe not even from there, maybe a bit lower, like down here. Everything should be coming from this perspective. Yeah. So then, what we're seeing is see whoever's doing the green line has gone for an even more
Yeah, because
extreme
I'm just following the
perspective.
line on
Oh
here
yeah, that makes
until
sense.
I find a vanishing point.
Yeah, so using the
So
the
this
bar,
one
yeah.
is following it right, and I don't know if this seems like 1 point perspective.
Perspective?
Sorry, can't speak today. So either the planks are going this way, and then they follow the perspective, or they're going vertical. There's only, if I remember how perspective works.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
So what I'm seeing here is that the picture is a bit tilted, so it wouldn't be vertical, it would be like this. So slightly tilted. So they're tilting in the wrong direction, I think. That's my theory.
I mean, yes. I think, yeah, if you're going for the disappearing point, they would just be more like this, I guess.
Because I don't think this makes another perspective point. Or does it?
I can never remember how to
I see
rotate the
this one.
canvas. How do you rotate? How to...
It's the
Nope,
bottom.
that's a square. Yeah, I don't want to drag it. I need to use my pen. Oh, that's zoom.
Yeah, with these clouds up here, CPC has gone for more of the bauble-y
There we go.
look. I've gone for
I
a
like
bit more of the like rounded things and the curls and all that sort of stuff. They're just a couple of different styles. Just looking at references, trying to redraw them, and doing a bit of a cloud study. Honestly,
With mine,
like
sorry.
I was just gonna say I was really annoyed with how I did clouds and that sort of stuff. So what I did was I just sat down for like a day and drew some clouds, drew more clouds, and now I'm like, I'm pretty happy with how they are. And yeah,
They're very cartoony, but they're really easy to shade because it's spheres.
When I last did some clouds, I experimented with using the techniques I do for fluff with the clouds, but like making it even more extreme, and it had a really nice effect. And yeah, stare at a brick wall. You a lot of times disappearing points will totally go outside the picture to really push that extreme. Because if it's in the picture, like I was drawing one here. If it was centered on this, I'm just gonna see if I can zoom out a little bit. There we go. Then the disappearing point would be like this. So like the lines in the bar on the floor, everything would be following this line. So the bar would be like up here, and then there's like wherever this is, you got the drinks. That's completely backwards. There we go. So it'd be like this. There's text, and the boxes are in here. So like it would be this extreme perspective, but where it's off screen, you can see I made a mistake. Where it's off screen, you can see that it's balancing everything a bit more.
Yeah.
Dropon needs to stop not letting me erase.
Something to keep in mind is that it's always either following the perspective, or it's horizontal or vertical. Or in this, and if it's not horizontal and vertical, like this has a bit of leaning. So I think then if you want to give this leaning, your horizon should also be
Following it as well.
diagonal.
Mm.
If everything is either parallel to the horizon or this way. I'm very good at English today.
Yeah, I don't know what program you use. If you use Clip Studio, there's a whole perspective ruler tool,
Yeah.
and you can shove it. And usually, I do need to shove it like well off the canvas, like over here. I was like, oh, it's not letting me draw it. Yet. Ah, there's a thing all the way over here.
That's normal what I do, and then
Yeah.
the ruler will only let you draw in the lines that would make sense in perspective.
Yeah. So it's a lot easier to actually arrange that way, because anytime you do lines, it's like, oh, it will force it into this perspective.
Yeah, that's a bit of a good point.
Oh,
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
like because everything here is flat,
I'm
and
gonna
these
lean a
boards are
bit because we can't see anything anymore.
Yeah, we've drawn so many lines over this poor picture.
This
Yeah,
is normally what my perspective drawings look like.
definitely separate perspective layer is always good, because this is like everything here is flat, and then this is like coming in with the perspective. It makes everything look a little bit interesting. Like if you're going to go for the more of the 3D look, it might make sense to have like their hooves like falling closer towards us and like actually pulling into the foreground a bit more, because I think as May has said, at the moment it sort of looks a little bit more like a stage they're standing on top of or something like that, and that might be a way to sort of relieve a little bit of that. But to be honest, it's not super duper bad to have it, the whole thing be a little bit more 2D.
Yeah, I'm going to send a screenshot in the chat for you, Mr. A Brick Wall. Just get the thing, ruler frame. So if you go into, I'm just going to screenshot this for you, but if you go into, oh, maybe it won't let me. I think it, as soon as I try to screenshot, it gets rid of the, I'll get it to you, don't worry. If you go into layer and then ruler and frame, and then create perspective ruler, it will give you something like that, which I am about to send. Once I can put it into Clip Studio and then crop the actual screenshot that I want. It doesn't take the menus. Okay, never mind. Or maybe I can make it do it, but yeah. Layer, ruler and frame, perspective ruler. And it definitely is something you're gonna need to turn on and off. Like whenever I've used it, you can't have it on for the entire time because it will absolutely mess up with all the stuff you're trying to draw. But it can be very, very helpful to use. Here we go.
So how I normally do it when I use it is I'll have a layer with just boxes that I make using the perspective tool. So there will be like a box that's the house. There's a box that's where the characters will stand. There's a box that are just like the boxes inside the house and things like that. Then I pretend that's like a sketch layer, and I do all the details on top of it, and with the
it's used to
ruler
keep
layer
your composition in check.
Yeah.
In a 3D perspective.
It's kind of what I see some artists do with 3D models. So they model the environment first and then put all the details and characters on top. But I can't 3D model, so I do the thing with Clip Studio.
Yeah, don't be too surprised if it takes a while to get down perspective and that sort of stuff as well. Like I'm pretty decent at perspective, but that's because I spent like a semester studying it at school. So it takes a while to get down and internalize all the rules.
There are a lot of different assets in Clip Studio, and I use a lot of them. I mean, like, why learn to draw human form when you can just use the models?
Yeah, and it's good to use the models and use all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I'm joking. It is a good like learning experience in itself. I mean, you got to learn human form somehow, but yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway, I think we scribbled over your thing enough.
Yeah. Any further questions, Mr. Burke? You don't even have to redo it if you don't want to. I mean, feel free to keep moving on to new pictures. Beating your
keep moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say if you wanted to do this picture again, don't like erase anything you have. Start fresh if you really wanted to try it again. Because I totally understand wanting to try something again with new information. But yeah, totally feel free to move on. Don't try to keep tweaking this image.
And if you want a little bit more of an idea of sort of how it might look, take your camera, go out to somewhere that like looks a bit similar, or even just somewhere that has like a couple of buildings that are in the same places, and just take a few pictures from the angle, and you can look at that picture and be like, okay, this sort of angles down this way, this looks this way, I can see the floor in this kind of a light, all that sort of stuff. You can always make your own reference.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Embroidered equations, because they're here. Us, not words. Words are hard. So they said trying to get this to look really wintry, but it's not working. There's the unicorn with the stars that's falling all around.
I got sort of a wintry impression, but I think if you wanted it to look more wintry, use a different graphic than stars, like snowflakes, maybe, or even just like little white specks to represent actual snow rather than like a cartoony effect. Depending on what you want to go for. If it was actually like snow blizzarding around her, then that would feel a lot more. Yeah, even if it's just like an earth effect. It doesn't even have to be over the entire picture, but just sort of like scattering around the edges and a few little flecks over her, just to show that it's actually there and she's not on top of it. Or you can continue going for this sort of motif, and you can have like little snowflakes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now the stars play too much. I see spacey because I see like bluish and purple things going on, so I'm thinking like kind of happening. It feels cool, but it doesn't feel wintry.
Yeah, the colors I think are good, but the stars, like I said, make you think of space rather than wintry. Looking at it from a distance, it totally gives you that feel if you look at the color palette.
Personally, I think you should try to not use a pre-made brush like that. The reason is because it basically places them all in a uniform sort of way. And I know it's like doing different sizing and different shading of them, but it doesn't give the impression of depth on it as much as it could, because it follows that same pattern all the way down. It's not interacting with anything. So my suggestion would be
areas like this is really thick. That's an awful brush.
Yeah. My suggestion would be step away from that style of brush and just go with like little white dots, because snow at the end of the day falling looks like little white dots.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, that's why I was sort of suggesting it depends on whether you want to go for more of an actual like in a wintry scene, or whether it's which little white flecks of snow will help a lot with, or whether you want to have it more of a cartoony thing. I will say I do definitely use brushes like this, like sparkles and stuff like that. In fact, I was getting quite excited finding lots of little fun little brushes and showing them with Danny a little while ago. But they have their uses. Like I'll use them like for a little bit of twinkling around the magic on a unicorn's horn or something like that, not as like to shove over the entire picture, if that makes sense. Or if you're doing like a graphic on like a wallpaper or something, then it could work. Or if you're using them very cleverly, like to create actual parts of an environment. Like I have like grass brushes and stuff and tree brushes, and I made like a brush for tinsel because I didn't want to draw tinsel, so I just made a brush for it, or two brushes for it. And it works well enough to like represent that it's tinsel. So see, pre-made brushes like that can work a lot, but like stamp ones, they too have a purpose if you use them like in the right way and just not overload. If you wanted to go for stars, I would say fewer bigger stars, just as like a nice little sparkly graphic in addition to like snow around her and stuff like that.
Hmm. I think something else that kind of hurts it is how everything's so blurred.
Mm.
Yes, snowstorms make things blurry, but we don't actually see any physical snow around her, so we just have the blur to see. We don't see any solid snow, and I think that really adds to it because if we just see the blur, it could be fog, it could be a number of different things. We don't see the physical presence of snow at all, so we're not getting any kind of language to depict that this is like cold and wintry, full of snow. So maybe some like snow piles around her, by her feet, something, maybe some on her. We just to really push that like bright white snow.
I think this is for your next attempt at going at the snow, because I mean, if you've tried it once, you might as well keep trying it until you get something that you're looking for. Go eat those references. This is a great example of when references can be very, very handy for trying to get a certain feeling of the picture. So plenty of artists have played with snow in their drawings. It's not too hard to go grab them or even go look at references from real life of how snow's falling. Personally, I like to go to other artists because it sort of tells me how I can cheat and build up areas to look more like snow.
And by real life, you mean like photos on the internet because she lives in Australia.
Yeah.
But yes, that's absolutely an option.
Yeah, I would definitely I agree. Get yourself references, build yourself a like a collage of the of feelings you like. 'Cause sometimes it's not just like, oh, I'm getting references for the poses. Sometimes you just want references for color or feelings or moods that an art, puts forth. Make yourself a collection of that and see what they have in common that makes you feel like, yeah, this is snow, this is wintry, this is cold. And it's the right kind of cold, it's the right kind of mood. It's a sad cold instead of like a happy bright snow. A lot of that, like if you collect your references and then you really analyze them and ask yourself those questions. Why did I pick these for the objects I'm looking for? And you start to understand what elements you can use to get those, feelings and moods.
So what I did doesn't have as much to do with snow, but most of the pictures I've seen from you, they're always either just looking. It's like their body is always turned completely to the side, and their face is turned completely to the side. And in this case, her body was completely to the left, and her face was completely to the right. Which, if you try to do it with your body, it kind of breaks your neck.
Yeah, she looks like she's turning completely around if you're looking at the body, yeah.
So what I did was just the face, I turned it 3/4, and then slowly the body is turned a bit more to the left, and her legs are completely to the left. So her body turns with her face.
It's a gradual twist across the bones and muscles of your body. It's not going to be. They're not like dolls that have like their head on a little swivel that you can twist around.
She's not an owl. She's a pony.
Or is she?
She might be half an owl.
Might just be a bunch of owls in a trench coat.
All right, drawing challenge for people out there watching who want drawing challenges. Draw a Pegasus that's an owl, like doing owl things.
I feel like we're just asking for another OC if we're asking this while talking about embroidered stuff.
Oh god, yeah. You mentioned that with embroidered around.
Something else that I noticed is that the coat the pony was wearing was just kind of hiding her whole body. What you can do is still have a coat, but you'll use her body. You'll be able to show her body underneath the coat. You just have to keep in mind where the coat is hanging, so it will be.
That's the purple lines.
Places like on her shoulder, on her knee. So from here, first the fabric will go up to it, and also it will create a point where the fabric is being bunched up, so the folds will come from there instead of just coming from everywhere. so you won't lose all the pony form underneath the coat. And since this is a snowstorm, we can also make the coat flow, make it all pretty.
Yeah, depending on which way it's blowing, that would look
Ooh.
very, very nice.
Those are pretty lines.
Yeah. If you want like a really sad, cold feeling, you can make it a really thin coat and have it extra like flowy in the wind. That can add to the mood.
Mm.
So I felt I needed to add in there. You got any further questions for us, Embroidered? Also,
Embroidered.
111 OCs. Do you have a Rolodex of OCs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She posted that picture of all of them a little while ago, and it was there was a lot. Too many for me. I've got like maybe 10 or 15 max. Yeah. This is cool. I like the coat stuff. Very flowy and nice.
Okay. So let's go on to horse. The Applejack.
AJ. Whoa.
All right, who did this one? This one is by Aquatic Jazz Star.
That's a great name. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
I need to draw something other than Applejack as their post, and I believe that is incorrect. You can just draw Applejack all day long and just be only Applejack.
So, I feel like. Oh, did I have any other questions, sorry? Or?
No, that was it.
Okay. I feel like one thing that's bothering me immediately is the hooves, because so Pixie's already on those, but I feel like this reference you've got is not something we see very often. This might be an outlier, because usually when they lay like this, their hooves are just sort of laid flat. I'm blue lining the reference, but, I'm just showing an example. Usually they lay like this and they don't tuck their hooves under, because that is definitely what we're seeing in this screenshot is definitely physics and biology defying, and you do have to recognize that a lot of the time in the show they will defy these physics and logic of how ponies should move. Yeah, Kibensky is doing a better rendition of how the leg would look bent. They defy these rules so that they can make them work as a cartoon, and so they can make them work as an animation. They need it to look like they're anthropomorphic, and that's more than just having big emoting eyes and being able to speak. Being anthropomorphic also sometimes means doing human poses and human motions, Lyra, and it means breaking pony anatomy sometimes to do that. So obviously sometimes they're not super strict in the show. And the animation part is just that, a lot of the times specific frames won't be perfect because they're just meant to look good like quickly for a second. So I would definitely recommend, like, it's great that you're using references because we recommend that a lot, references, but also something we recommend a lot is to use multiple references, to look between them, to use other ponies laying down. Maybe it's not Applejack, but it's still a pony laying down. You can look at how their body is formed, and look at real horses too, like Maze has shared one in our Discord. And it's a great, even if, obviously you're drawing something that has completely different shape from an actual horse or pony, but it could still help you to understand like how the pose is meant to be and how they're sort of trying to represent that in the show.
Yeah, being diverse with your references is always a bit good. The official show and the official the official show is good for movement and that sort of stuff. But as Zai mentioned, when it gets to like specifics, they can be a little bit weird, and especially the promotional art can be quite strange because they don't tend to have to focus or have to be as accurate on that.
I saw the massive poster of like the first, like, like the original like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic poster before like we all fell into this, before it became a big thing, like that original promotional poster, and I have like it's like a massive like A0 print on my wall, and it's full of so many little errors and mistakes.
It's mental.
Yeah.
Crazy horse
But
show.
yeah, it's because everything was just like, oh, let's just make these little flash vectors, and then we can make them move. But then they so much more polished over time. So anything you can find that's a more recent ref will usually be more polished from the show because they just spent a lot more time making sure everything makes sense and adding little details.
I kind of think that's why I tend to reference like real horses so much. Is just it's just because the anatomy is correct because it's a real horse.
Yeah. And it's a
are-
very good idea because the show, I've said this before, but the show is and as any cartoon is, especially like anthropomorphic sort of things, they are taking a real life thing, and this goes true for anime as well. They're taking real life and they are stylizing it into a representation in the form of a cartoon. They are showing you something that looks like a human and it represents a human in anime, but it doesn't look anatomically correct to a human. It looks stylized because that's what it is. And any cartoon is the same. It's a stylized version that's represented. You can look at DuckTales and know that they're ducks, but it's still like obviously not what a real duck looks like exactly. And so instead of just like, it's 100% good to study the show, study what they do, study what other artists do as well. But it's looking back at the actual source and saying, okay, this is what an actual horse looks like. Here's how I think they sort of translated that in the show, and here's how I can sort of go through the same process, the same thought process, and take that real life reference and try and re-stylize that into the cartoon and come up with it on your own, and that way you're going for an accurate pose. Like Pixie said, it's an actual animal, it's bending the way it's supposed to bend, and so then it's just a matter of translating that into cartoon.
And that's why it's good to jump between different references and from different artists as well, because not only does drawing it from real life get you sort of something that is definitely accurate, but if you try copying different artists and try all that sort of stuff, different artists simplify the same forms in different ways, and so having a bit of diversity as to what you look at can help you learn which ways you want to simplify and which ways you want to represent forms as well. But good drawing. I'm excited to see more stuff from you. Keep drawing. Keep doing stuff. It's exciting.
Yes.
Do the art.
Very exciting.
All right. On to the next horse.
Yes, sir.
Which one would this be?
It's the one right next to it.
Oh, I like this one.
It is by user deleted from planet.
Aw, that's sad.
TM Frozen Snow.
I need help with my eyes, muzzle, and head shape.
Deleted from planet. What? Oh my god.
Some
Okay,
great
yeah.
usernames.
So this is an interesting picture. Firstly, I saw someone went over the tongue a little bit, but it's a little bit. Are they supposed to have like the whole? Usually, you don't see like mouth open, tongue out, unless it's like they're specifically trying to make like a crazy face. Usually, the nice like blep. Oh, someone left. Usually, the blep is like a close, a little bit more closed like this, and you could do yourself like a little bit of a gap underneath, just to show. If you want, but it usually works best if it's subtle. I can't erase that now. Thanks, Dropper.
No problem.
There's the raspberry. So it's a matter of like what you're trying to do. She's just trying to do like a silly blep. Close that mouth. This is why I hate the Discord :P emoji, because it's hideous. I think it was the Discord one, or it's got like an open mouth with the tongue hanging out like bleh. It's like, what is this? That's not what :P is doing. That's not a blep.
Life is hard.
Unless they're like chewing on like a candy or something that's not the tongue. I don't know.
I need a different color.
Yeah, with this this ear, I think that you've got sort of this area on the left when it should sort of be over on the right here for the most part. Because we're looking at if you look at this sort of red line that LD's done, these red lines, this is kind of the point where the ear flicks around, and so you don't see too much sort of behind there. It goes from here directly into the main. Yeah, like CPC's one, awesome over here. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can do muzzles in 3/4 view.
Yeah, it's making it a bit easier for us to see our drawings. There we go.
I would take your nostrils and adjust them because I think you've just gone way too large with them. Just little flicks, little curves is all they tend to do on the show. Nothing much. They get the point across. If they're way too large, they sort of end up looking like a mustache.
Yes.
Like little French
There,
mustache.
yeah, there are lots of different like stylistic things you can do, but you definitely don't want them to be too big. Also, LD seem to have been drawing on the art layer.
Lies.
Well, it's gone faded, and I turned off the layer, and it's like, whoops. It's hard to see. I know this is a bit of a mess, but hopefully you can make sense of what we're doing. That's why I made this little white layer here. In hopes it helps. Yeah.
So I think what we're getting at here is don't be worried about construction lines. Throw that stuff down. It's going to help you get some more of that face shape going for you. And sort of play around with it. It looks like you're going for a rounded bubbly style. That is A-okay. You just want to make sure you have a construction that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, if you have access to it, white printer paper, much better than gridded.
Yeah, unless you're making a dungeon map or something.
Or, doing math.
Yes. I mean, Dungeons and Dragons is kind of an exercise in math. It's just a more fun one. Anyway, so just some cleaning up of the face. Sort of trying to go over what LD did as well, since it got hit by the fade. The eyes, I always like to start in the middle where the bridge of the nose is, right here. Get a different color. So it's not white or nearly white. Yeah, so this is where the bridge of the nose is, and then you go outwards for the eye. I mean, you can just disregard this if you want, but I always get really upset seeing eyes like this. I don't feel like that looks as nice. I feel like it's got to go start in here and then go no further than this, because this is the bridge of the nose, and so the eyes are going to be on the outside of this. It's all a matter of skull construction, if that makes sense. Oh, and the ear actually, I think I know where all the peak CPC lines go.
They were my lines, and I decided to let someone else have a bit of shot.
Well, I'll have a look at this right now, because the temple is around here. There's always going to be a gap on the outside of the eye. There's a bit on the side, and then the ear is going to sort of be connected to the in pony world. We sort of connect the ear to or just behind the temple. It's fine. It doesn't need to be a massive gap here. It's sort of like this area here. But the eye, as long as the ear isn't going directly over the eye, then it's fine. And the ear will come down to the side of the head, to the back of the neck, at least if you're following movie style, which I think is a good idea to do. And so yeah, and then it's just a matter of, here's your ear. You like the pointy ears, so that's fine. The fluff, I think, here needs to be, if someone else already went over this, I apologize, but rather than doing thick strand, I do love you got this overlap and you've got the random shapes. That is good, because we see a lot of sort of people doing this, and that's not good. So you've already got the randomness and you've got the overlap in there, so that's cool. But what you want to do next is just soften it and bring everything together. So you got the right idea. It's just a matter of technique, really. and preference. So just look at different people, look at how they draw fur and fluff, and just decide which little techniques you like the most, and practice doing little fluffy bits and furry bits.
All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Just a very quick note with the bottom of this ear. Sorry, the bottom of the eyes. That gets pushed up like that when they're smiling. So if the whole bottom of the eye is getting pushed up, you might want to have them smile just a little bit more. Like if you look at Ali's, this all pushes up together. Cool.
Or you
Let's move
can
on.
soften it a little bit. It doesn't have to be like a super push, but just like a little bit of a push.
Yeah.
It depends on what sort of expression you want to go for.
All right. Next up is, hey, Calvin.
Hi.
Hey,
Calvin.
Can someone help me with this pose? Link video or photo, or just explain because the legs look weird. So they did get a good image of legs from Indigo. I just wanted to take the chance to draw over this to show you what yours would look like using their breakdown of how bones work. And it looks like Fluffy is going to town on this one.
I'm just doing some under sketching. So under sketching is golden for this sort of thing. You don't. I don't want to mess with your style too much, but there we go. So I think this is sort of what you're going for, and I'm going to try. See, I should have started with a lighter color. I'm going to try and do some like little skeletal work here, as best I can. Just to sort of show you the construction that goes into drawings. I also see you've done with your lines. You've done a lot of chicken scratching, and our friends here can tell you about that, much like we did earlier on in the stream.
Don't do it. Done.
Yeah, swoosh. So I'll just do this to these legs. I'll do this leg so you can see. I should have used a lighter blue for this. I don't think you can lock opacity, so well. CPC is doing a lovely, like a more dynamic pose there. So a lot of the time, this is going to be my advice to you. On top of like references, swooshy strokes, action lines, look those things up because it will help you a lot. Don't worry about trying to tackle it all in once. At the very least, just construction. You've got to do lots of construction lines. But my advice is like you see what we've got here with your drawing, and I've just sort of tried to do a little bit of like construction work over yours just to sort of look at how it's posed and how the limbs are. What CPC is doing is taking your idea, taking what you've presented as an idea, and she's drawing it with like fresh. She's taking that idea and she's reimagining it and saying, how can we make this pose more dynamic? What is this pony actually doing? And how is like 3D form and physics going to come into this? So you can see there's a lot of nice overlap showing that these hooves are really coming away from the pony. Their weight is like off center, so they're tilting a little bit. There's lots of nice dynamic poses here. They're twisting their back. So that really helps doing something. You don't have to do it exactly like CPC is. You certainly don't have to try and do it in her style, but aside from the fact that her style is adorable, but it does show you that going for a more dynamic pose is super good. And I understand that it's not going to always be easy to just jump right out of the gate with a dynamic pose like this, but what you've done here is perfect as a setup. This is the kind of thing that you want to be doing as just a construction, as an idea, as a draft, and you can do it super small in the corner. And what we just as an idea of like this is the pony. You know, they're gonna be like doing this. The legs are like hey, and then their front legs are like whoa, whoa, and that's just don't draw it like that though. But that's what we call a thumbnail. And even if you don't do a thumbnail, even if you just try to draw something and you're like, okay, this is all right, but it looks a bit static. What you can do is just put it aside and then just draw it again, and just think about like, okay, how am I gonna take what I drew before and convert it into something more like less static and more interesting to look at, and just draw it again, and it will be very, very helpful. Bones. Yes.
I did a bit of a breakdown of the bones and some joints. With more straight lines and the squiggly stuff I did on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's easier to start with straight lines and then As you get more
Yes.
confident, you can do weird bendy bones. That
Bendy
don't quite
bones.
follow what
Messy
bones
sketching
actually do.
is yeah, messy sketching is very fun, and like just doing everything very lucid and nice is good. But it does take a little bit of work up to that, and I do think it is worthwhile going for structures and bones like CPC and I have done here, just so you sort of get the bearings. But yeah, I think like a lot of people, and I was definitely in this camp as well, are very afraid to draw something more than once. Like you draw it, and it's like, okay, well this is my drawing, this is my project. I've got to make this drawing work, and it's so hard to let go of that and just like move on and say, okay, maybe a different drawing, or maybe I'll redo this one and see how it comes out second time.
One of the good things for poses like this is because horses and other quadrupeds, cats, dogs, they all have like very similar underlying anatomy. So for something like this, you can definitely look up, cat references, dog references, and then use those as sort of inspiration for sort of how the legs connect to the body, how all this connect, how the legs look when they're like splayed out like this. So definitely don't feel like you need to stick to horses or just other artists for references when you look at something like
Yeah.
this.
Mm-hmm.
If you search up online as well, just like pony anatomy, pony leg bone anatomy, like MLP legs, like you can get a lot of nice stuff. Sorry, I'm going to jump this off what you were drawing. There's a lot of nice stuff you can find online that shows lovely breakdowns of how the joints and bones come together. Even if it's something simple like this, which is by Scarlet Pony, by the way, you can usually find lots and lots of different resources. DeviantArt, Tumblr, like wherever it might be, Pinterest. I remember I had one. It was sort of like a flash one. I can't remember who did it, and I'm trying to find it again. And it was like an interactive, like they had different stages you can flick between to show the different like layouts. It was really nice, but
As well, when it comes to like drawing in all these areas, like a lot of the interesting bits of drawing, I reckon, come from like knowing when to use more straight lines and knowing when to use more curves. And I think it might be helpful to use a little bit more curve and try, rather than things that like curve in, try a little bit more things that like curve out and puff out a little bit, because that tends to like indicate a little bit more muscle, a little bit more just mass there in general, and it can sort of give a little bit more life to the stuff you're drawing.
All right, on to the next one.
Cool.
Let's keep moving sideways then. We got.
it's Best Pony.
Well, that's not a picture of me. Oh, where did I put this? This one is by Anonymous Pony Guy. Sloppy, I know, but there's a pony. But here's a pony I decided to draw. Hope you get some artistic inspiration, my friend. This
Heck
is
yeah.
a
This seems like
response.
this was just made for someone.
Yeah, it was a response to Mr. T wondering what the heck to draw. I believe so. Something like that. There's a lot of posts. Do you think that your mindset affects how you can draw? I asked because I haven't been able to draw well and I don't know what to draw. That one.
See, I always just default to drawing Derpy. She's a good choice.
Fair. You can draw her with unfocused eyes and it's canon. I never have to point the eyes right.
It's every time I have to draw a pony looking at something, I struggle, and then I draw Derpy and she's always looking at something. It's like, no, stop it.
Is she looking at something or some things?
Just one thing, that's the problem.
This is a very CPC stylized cutie.
Yeah. The CBC is good at front facing.
It's
Front facings are really
it was a
interesting.
long struggle.
It always is. you know, and just an observation. Like so many beginning artists start off with the front face, thinking it's the easiest thing in the world, but it's the hardest thing ever as you keep going forward.
Yeah, I
Like,
think it's more like as you're at like in the beginning, it's like the easiest thing at your level to sort of reach because it's like it's shapes that you plaster together basically, and then like as you learn more 3D form, which is something that like you can't even begin to fathom when you're starting out, as you learn how everything actually works in 3D space and it just starts to actually feel natural to you, like you don't have to think about it as hard. Then doing stuff like third quarter is way more fun and way more easy and way more
And then it's
expressive.
like front faces all this annoying
And
things
then they
like
just don't make sense.
foreshortening of the muzzle.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do the ears work?
For me, it's like I always have a very specific like way I do the head shapes that's super cute, and it's like I love doing them. I love doing my head shapes, but then like if I have to turn it around to front view, then it's like how do I do that because I don't know how to make the cheeks look nice without like having both punched out or like not at all, and then it's like doesn't look right, and then like I don't know. Either way, it just doesn't look
Yeah.
good.
So
I
my
think
biggest
CPC's found a
struggle
good balance.
figuring out the front face was the cheeks because I wanted my cute cheeks, but then I also don't want my ponies to look weird.
Wait. I have a sketch similar to this I could show.
It's very easy to accidentally look like they've been stung by bees or something.
Yeah.
That's my scan top. I have this wing here doing.
Yeah, that's a really nice
Some
wing
lovely
style.
like feathery wings. I had something similar, like the sort of like wing up look. I'm trying to find it. It was a sketch I drew in a sketchbook, but I know I have it scanned somewhere. Ooh, it's hard to see
If you
these
give
pictures.
it a little thumb feather, it can make it look more like a human hand. It's like, hi.
Oh, these aren't arranged by day. That's why I can't find anything. Okay. That's gonna be a problem. Oh wait, no, it loaded. Where is this sketch? I drew it while I was resting off a back injury.
But yeah, when I'm doing a quick sketch just to react to something, I also just do like, whoa, that's a wing.
Hey, it reads.
Yeah, as long as you sort of show what you're trying to get across. Okay, I'm
Exactly.
bound to find it eventually. I don't know if it's even going to help, but oh, there it is. It's not that good, but it's okay. 1431. There it is. Nope, that's not the one. 1431. Okay. Oh, let me be on the right layer, so I'm not gonna like interrupt.
So what I'm
everyone's.
learning while drawing over this picture is that I really want to draw Happy Derpy.
Yes. Oh no, it needs to be flipped. No, not flipped that way. It needs to be rotated. How do I rotate this layer?
Just
LD.
rotate on your chair.
But yeah, well, I need to post this image into the canvas. I can't rotate it around to the right. How do I do this?
We'll just turn our heads.
Yeah, or LD can we can rotate the canvas. Okay, until I get it on Clip Studio and then I can rotate it actually. I hate auto rotation. Why can't I just have it as one side? Okay.
Oh yeah.
No, it's not. Rotate canvas. Where are you?
There we go. We're completely upside down. That's the answer here.
Nice.
Okay, I've got it. I've got the actual. We can resume normal world. We can resume sanity.
No.
I don't know. Is
Did
a
the
picture
disappear? Yes, it did. Okay.
There it is.
Fixed.
It's the picture of with using the wing arms because I wanted to try wing expressions. I like that bonus. They look sort of like pom poms in the first image. But yeah, here's my attempt into what you're sort of doing as well. Although I'm not sure if you're going for more of like a thumbs up, which CPZ's totally looks like because like the short feathers look like the sort of it looks like a thumb because it's like this.
That's good.
but with like
well,
a
if I was
no.
doing a thumbs up on this, this is the wrong fit. Wait, I know how to use digital art tools.
It sounds like you're trying to convince yourself.
Do something like this. but with more
Yeah.
sketching because it's difficult. And then
The wing hands. It's such a bizarre, like, cartoon thing like this. It's just so not how feathers work, but it works so well just for expressing things. And, like, they do it in, like, Breath of the Wild with the Rito and stuff as well.
Magical cartoon horses.
Yep.
Say it
exactly.
with me,
And magical
everyone.
cartoon bird people.
I think that when we get to something like this, and what we're doing is we're basically just sketching over the top. It's sort of you don't have too many issues in terms of core stuff that you need to sort out, or that like look particularly wrong. It's mostly just like optimizing shapes and things. Yeah.
there was an anatomy that just looked broken.
Hmm.
It was just like, for example, the chin read a bit weird to me, so that's why I started like playing with the cheeks and stuff. And the wing looked very sketchy, so I just tried to make it a little bit more wing shaped instead of MLP shaped.
Lowered the muzzle a bit, made the eyes a little bit fuller. Yeah. Just
I
like
also lowered them
pushing
a
the
bit so you
shapes.
have more space for the main.
Just keep drawing, keep looking at references, and you'll the sort of exact placement of shapes will like get better and better and better as you look at more and as you draw more. It'll get a little bit more easier to place things in like a super stylistically pleasing place and way and stuff like that.
All right, shall we continue on?
Yes.
Let's do it.
There's this one from over in the corner from Fluffy's eye.
Oh,
Let's go all the way back.
wait. It's down.
We're gonna go to the green-haired bat horse.
Oh yeah, I like this.
More wings.
This one is by Lemon Schmall. Edgy OC I made for a friend. I think it came out very well. Edgy, for sure. Yep, it's edgy.
Can confirm.
Pretty sharp.
Yeah.
So I think breaking up these, I'm gonna go on the hair a little bit. If I can
I
figure
want
out how
my
to
fade
zoom
layer
in.
back.
I can turn it back on again. Ooh, I just want us to have a look at the lovely original picture first. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the hair a little bit. I love this snout that Pixie's doing. So you've got the right idea of having like lots of sort of broken up streaks sort of overlapping each other. I do see like breaks in the line here where you've done like you just like, oh, here's the thing, but like that's obviously going to happen. But I think what you could stand to do is just be a little bit more random and at the same time methodological with it, because these are all very uniform. They basically look like sunflower petals. So what I'm suggesting, if I make my brush a little bit lighter, yeah, that's great. There we go. What I'm suggesting is looking at ways that you can sort of show this idea without having it look so uniform. So I'm just going to do some little bits of sketching like this. Ooh, it's very hard to draw actual like coherent shapes in this program. There we go. Yeah, so little hairs breaking things up, little changes in direction. If I can just neaten this a little bit. There we go. So you want it all sort of like. So I shouldn't have drawn this in layer 2. You want it to have a lot of a nice like overall actual like the hair has for ponies and other characters in cartoons like this has a specific silhouette that is recognizable, and you do have that, but it's usually better if you can make that feel a little bit more natural. I'm just trying to get figure out my brushes here. Hardness down, opacity down. I need a fade. Nope, that's weight. That's like 1% opacity is not very helpful typically.
So
That's
I was
too
just
much.
trying to make it still. I was
Yes,
trying
you
to
got-
keep it simple.
Yeah, so you've got two options here. If you
but
want to still have it like
with
Yeah, CPCs are more still broken up into like the multiple pedal sort of shape that you've got, but like a little bit more
which is a bit
random and flowy.
variation. And you can
Yes.
also transfer this shapes into here, for example,
Mm-hmm.
and back here, so you keep everything consistent.
Can
And you could do the same in the tail if it's okay if I fade this tail a little bit. I can
yeah.
fade this tail a little bit.
Oh,
I don't know.
Here, I
let me
gotcha.
let me do it.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Sorry, Sai.
I didn't draw that one. It's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pixie,
Yeah.
Ali.
I did. Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know. No,
It's
no,
all
I
getting
have to
confused
actually
because
draw
we're
it.
using the same colors.
So with
So-
tails, I started a base shape and then I build on top of that.
Yeah, but the tails just tend to start a little bit higher.
Mhm.
When it gets into this kind of area, it sort of
It's in
loses
the
a bit
butt.
of stuff. Yeah.
For lack of a better, if you really look, like you look at any kind of animal, the whole crease back there is the butt. So the tail comes out of something called the dock, and that is pretty much born of the spinal cord of the animal. So it more so comes out right along the back and right out just
Yeah.
above the butt.
If you think about where your tailbone is, I'm assuming that you know what a tailbone is. Most people do. It's sort of just above where the butt is. So yeah, it's the
Well,
same
if you
thing.
don't know where your tailbone is, just imagine where the spine is and continue it. Just keep going.
Or
Mhm.
Google tailbone.
The tailbone is just the end of the spine, so you can just keep going.
Yes.
Next. Yes? No? Maybe? I don't know.
Nothing.
Can you repeat the
Let's
question?
do it.
Oh, this little ear hole. Just make sure you shade it in the same way that the rest of the main is, because then it looks like
Oh,
it's.
I wasn't. I thought
Yes,
that
sir.
was an earring, not a ear hole. I didn't realize.
Exactly.
Oh, this is a cute one.
Where have we gone? Oh, over here.
The little picture. This is by Jelly Lol.
Lol.
This reminds me a lot of the older Gen ponies.
Which color do I use? There's a lot of colors.
All of them.
Yes.
Use white. Just a drawing of.
I mean, that's actually a good option sometimes. Right?
Okay, it's red on pink doesn't work.
Yeah, I have to fade it.
dark colors
a lot.
will do it for you.
Okay, I found it.
There, now you can. Now it's a bit more balanced.
So this is just a drawing of my pony sauna paint splatter that I did. Critiques are needed. Uber proud of this nonetheless.
Yeah, you should be. I think you've done a wonderful job.
Hmm.
Ooh. Now let us deconstruct that.
The first thing that pokes out to me is just be careful of your neck here. We have a little bit of a noodle neck going on. It's just a little too long, and the hair. Is it the hair?
Main, yeah.
Yeah. There's a tangent kind of pushing the neck to make it feel like it's just like a really long noodly thing on the hair. So just be careful of that.
What if I can move these?
You've got some good diversity between the back legs, which is good. It's really common for people to just draw one leg and then draw the other leg in the same shape in the same place. And now that's nicely broken up there.
Hmm.
You can see Ali pushing the diversity of the front hooves a little bit by pushing this one down.
So
Or
as
fluffy, or whatever.
some critique you've got on the channel says, or not the channel, sorry, the subreddit says, definitely draw in a larger canvas. You yourself said this was 384 by 512. I suspect you stamped it down a little bit, but at this size, that must be massively stamped down. Don't be scared of large pixel counts. I mean, you don't have to go
Yeah.
cute pencil case size where it's 16,000 by 40,000.
Yeah, 512 is the size we use for Telegram stickers, which is like tiny emote images.
Yeah.
So that's
I
really
my
small.
standard canvas. Well, I have a small, the smaller of my two canvases is a 2000 by 2000, which I've had other people use as well. So that's a good like minimum standard. I think the one that I found I'm most comfortable with is 5000 by 3500, which I think is like the golden ratio or whatever it is. But it's a good canvas size I've found. It's not like super big to the point where it'll destroy everything, but it's like it gives you enough working room without being ridiculous.
Mine's like I think it's 7000 by 5000, something like that.
So that's pushing it a bit.
I wonder why my clip studio keeps crashing. I have no idea.
No, not a clue why it would do that.
I don't know. I only have like 200 layers, barely anything.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Mystery.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's like
Drawing-
only half of them are effect layers.
they're all
Drawing on a
folders,
bigger
it's
canvas
quite hard.
lets you. I was just going to drawing on a bigger canvas also lets you zoom in a bit more and just be a little bit more
Yeah.
flowy with your lens.
You want to have some nice possibility for
lens-
detail. That's harder to do when everything's super small.
Yeah.
Mhm. And one of the benefits of having flowier lines, which I think I'll bring into another critique I have, which is your line work in general. Because right now your line work seems very stiff. It seems like things don't quite match up at some points, and it's not quite as clean as it could be. Like it feels like up here in the horn area, that's not a good color to use. Here, go red. Up here in this horn area, it feels like there's a confusion of where the line art is. Same with the eyes, and some of the parts of the legs feel like the line art kind of it doesn't feel as neat and swishy as it could be. And having that larger size can help you gain those nicer swooshes, gain that nicer line control because you have more space to work with.
CPC, what on earth are you doing?
Is this sort of what you were thinking of, Maze?
You...
I have no idea what you're talking about.
All right, shall we move on to the next one?
Just
Sounds
a
good.
note with this hair here. Don't be too scared to like have all these poking out, all that sort of stuff, and then leave a little bit here, and then just have like it transition a bit into like the back of the hair naturally, because it'll like it indicates that like things are folding over here, and it's a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't see because your name was for Ooh.
Yeah, I think good horse. Keep drawing. I'm excited. You've got like good colors. You've got good poses. I want to see you keep doing stuff and keep showing us things.
All right. Next horse up will be the one right beside that, the Twilight Sparkle.
CPC.
Your paper is clearly not fluffy enough. We have CPC who's corrected that for you.
We missed having you.
So this is by Melody Breeze 1. After an hour of drawing wings and deciding to try and get them better than what I was drawing, this was the results of Twilight. I'm so proud.
Oh, heck yeah, you should be proud. It's really hard to
You
draw,
were
and the fact
drawing.
that you like went ahead, did it, and went through to the end, follow through,
Let
that's
me stick again.
really awesome. So I'm happy you're proud about it. I really am.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely, all of us are. Yeah, it's
Heck
something
yeah.
like being creative is a wonderful thing, and I think you're on the right path.
And plus for drawing wings.
Yeah, they're
Draw 'em
difficult.
Mm.
Yeah.
The MLP style wings are really difficult. I can see as well. Like you've not only that, but you've not done them in the MLP style. You've done them like a lovely feathery style. So that's pretty. You're experimenting. That's awesome. But I'm gonna leave Ali to tackle the wings probably because if she wants
Oh
to.
no,
'cause
CPC.
You're the best.
No, CPC's owning the wings today. I'm gonna sit back.
Yeah, that's kind of true. The horn's not big enough.
Oh my gosh.
Brilliant. I love it.
No.
Banned.
But I think the biggest thing I would focus is not so much with the wings, is with all the... So it looks like you didn't draw underneath. So it's not just following the shapes even if you can't see them. Just draw the whole thing even if it's going to be covered up by hair.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
drawing what can't be seen is an aspect that we have talked about before. It's sometimes hard to remember to do, but it can really help to figure stuff out. 'Cause you might think like, well, why would I draw this? It's like it's not going to be seen, but like it really does help to just visualize everything. 'Cause otherwise, your brain is trying to process all the stuff in between, that really should be left to the imagination. And like if you do everything in one go, and then like you erase the parts that can't be seen, everything is accurate. And sometimes optical illusions can happen to throw it off, even if it should technically be accurate. It's happened to me a lot of the time. But you've done the work, and after that, you can adjust it so that it makes sense, even if you're having to fight against some weird like visual thing. Um, but at the very least, then everything is going to be in order, and it's going to be a lot easier for everything to feel like it's in the place it should be.
So with wings, I start with bones.
Yeah.
And then I make shapes of areas of the feathers, because there's different areas. There's this area down here, which is divided in two because of the primary feathers and the secondary feathers. So this ones are normally shorter, and I do them a bit more squarish. And then up here, you have this like little circle part where the feathers are quite round. They are shorter but round. And then you have the big, which I think is the actual ones that are called primaries and not what I called primary before. Which are this ones over here, the spiky ones.
Yeah, just be careful with, especially around this area with the ear and the mane. Make sure that there is a bit of a clear visual separation between the ear and the mane, because otherwise it can like look a little bit like one combined shape. And when it comes to like Twilight's mane, you've got this very specific big, small stuff here, and sort of lumping the ear in with it sort of just makes it a little bit less easy to read and that sort of stuff. I think as Maze says in the chat, just tangents, or as Maze in Embroidered says, just like tangents are good to look at and avoid and all that sort of stuff. And I've done a little bit of separation there, a little bit like little things pulled out and stuff. Very cute horse. I don't think we need to say too much, like that the sizes are different, because it's pretty obvious that the sizes are. But I think what a lot of the Ali and CPC and that sort of stuff are doing when they're redrawing over it is just not making the sizes the same proportions they are in show style, but kind of balancing things a little bit more. At the moment, or with your original drawing, the head is very big, wings very big, looks cute, but this area around here is pretty small by comparison, and so it looks a little bit unbalanced. And what they've done is sort of, pump this a little bit, push this a little bit further, and it just sort of unifies the look a little bit more. So you can keep the stylized, you can keep the different sizes, but just make sure things are balanced across it, and that sort of makes it look a little bit cuter and nicer.
All right, shall we move on?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do this other winged horse right beside it.
Wings all day. We do wings.
This one is by.
I think these wings are fine because they're cardboard wings.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it adds to it.
See,
It's,
they
like,
got
really
around.
good.
They got around the system.
So
Yep,
this
they
is
You could
hacked
go
by.
even more and just do the oval angel wings.
This is by IDK and IDC. Wrath Pony Dream Sketch. I need advice on Rump. She's half floating but should be sitting. It definitely looks like she's sort of like on a pillow or something.
why not draw a pillow?
Actually, yeah, I think that would be my easiest answer here. Give him something to put
See,
their butt on.
sometimes, so like it is worth trying
So
to like look at the
you want
pose
to
and figure out
push the
what.
butt to the floor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Oh,
is worth trying to
drawing
figure out the
orange
pose
on
you're doing.
orange is not working.
Yeah. But sometimes there is like a cheat where it's like, maybe I would prefer this just to make it easier.
She looks a bit like an excited puppy when there's a
Yes.
like they can't quite
Walk.
sit because they're too excited.
Yeah.
Did you
I
say
was
I don't know
walk?
if you've seen a puppy
Yes.
before. They just kind of like they try to sit, but they're too excited to get a treat. So they just like half on their back legs, but still trying to stay put.
There, it's a little beanbag chair. Just meant for putting their rumps on.
Yeah, horses sitting are very odd because, like, you can look at real horses sitting and it just looks very odd.
Wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would recommend looking up
Okay.
dogs and cats sitting.
Exactly.
Mm.
Ponies are cats. We've gone over this.
I can definitely see what you mean about the rump and all this sort of area.
Specific reference, but I'm not going to search through my like 5,000 photos in my folder trying to find. You see if I can find it by googling.
It looks a little bit interesting just because this is like fairly straight on. This is tilted a bit more. This is tilted a bit more. When you have like areas that are more 3/4 views combined with areas that are like basically side on, it can look a bit strange. It's like Ali down here, she's got like everything in side on view, and it looks a little bit more natural.
It's a hard, like I said, you're kind of making things up since horses can't really sit like we want them to look cute.
Mm.
So you kind of have to take from different anatomy, and you definitely can turn the body, but it takes like observing pictures. Like literally, you could find a picture of a dog sitting, looking up at you, wanting a treat, and that would probably show a nice body turn, but it's not extreme. It's just a little body turn. But there's definitely plenty of references you could for sure find that help you get what you need. Just other animals have the secrets. They hide them.
Yeah, I think it's also because like in the upper body, you've got like this like tilt. You've got this hoof going this
So, yeah,
way. You've got this one going up. In here, you've got like both of the legs are like basically in a very similar kind of pose, which you tend to see when people are having a bit of trouble visualizing the anatomy, visualizing sort of how things should look when it's turned and that sort of stuff. Yeah. LD has co-opted this cute pony and made them say awful things.
I can't even find my reference. In fact, Tumblr do its annoying thing as usual of load the page and then just as you're about to type in the search, steal your cursor to the chat window and make you type your search into the chat window. Thanks, Tumblr.
No problem, buddy.
I forgot my password for Tumblr, so I'm free now.
She's free now.
I love the way you said that. Oh my god. I'm sorry I can't find the reference. I was trying to find. I know I've seen like lots of like centaur OCs like sitting in that like sitting pose that you're trying to do, so I was trying to find a reference. It's like horse anatomy but drawn at the same time, so it's bridging that gap.
It's a really
I
cute
like this.
idea for a picture.
Yeah, I like this hair and this bun up the top. Looks nice.
I think I'd change her expression a little bit more to sort of play into the scene of what's happening. It looks like either she's playing around with being a princess, so a little cheeky smile or something, or embarrassed blush because hey, you just caught her like wearing this get up. Sort of play into a scene. It might improve the picture a bit.
I think I would tilt her head a bit. Because that just makes sense to me. I think the body would be doing this and her head would be tilted a little bit to the side like this. Not extreme, just a little bit, because right now what's happening is it suddenly turns this way, the line, and you'd keep it a bit more simple.
All right. Shall we move on to our
Ali.
next one? Oh,
Ali, that's too good. Yeah, you're not allowed to draw good things like that.
No,
banished.
it.
Yep.
It not.
Kicked out for being too good.
Oh, fuck.
Kicked out for saying it's not too good, too.
Oh, I used up our curse word for the day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna get demonetized. Here.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Okay, now
No.
someone has polluted this sketch with like green lines.
It's CPC.
Uh,
It's on one of the layers.
What did I do? Oh no,
Your green lines.
What has happened
it's
here?
not mine. I'm drawing with. What color is this? Pink.
No, that was back on
Yes.
from the previous picture when you did the clouds. Like
Shh,
the,
don't tell him.
We have like 16 layers. There we
How
go.
many layers do we have? I can't find the
all
layer
of
where
them.
I drew.
We have all of our layers.
Yep, brilliant.
So this
Maybe
is
this one. Oh, I found it.
so
Maybe
this is
this
by.
one just
Damn
has
it!
like a green highlight. Oops, this is a line. This is not the eraser.
We are looking at Sombra.
This is by Sanjik. A somber drawing I recently got done with. What are you done with?
A reference of Sombra.
Damn it! Now I found the reference I was trying to find in the last picture.
It's a very nice
Yeah.
drawing.
Mhm.
See, I would have questions. I wish you were here so I could ask them, but I will ask them, and we will try not to presume too much answers. But I'd be really curious if you're, if this was your sketch, or if you sketched somewhere else and you traced on top of your sketch on a fresh piece of paper in order to get those nice clean lines, because that would help us help you a little bit better. Because in the case if this was your paper you start to finish, I would say you should let yourself sketch a little bit more.
Mm.
I can't for the love of me see any kind of under sketch. I see a little bit of lines here and there, so either you have a really good eraser, or like I said, I don't want to presume anything. I just want to know how to help better. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I can see some sort of underlying stuff. I think good with the eraser.
Yeah.
But having a little like it, especially with sort of what we tend to help out with, a lot of it tends to be base construction. It tends to be sort of the basic shapes underlying your finished drawing. So like leaving some of those kind of visible can be really good. And a good way to do that is to draw your under sketch, do it all in pencil like this, and then go over the top with a pen, because what that'll do is that'll also give you a little bit more contrast. At the moment, sort of the darkest color you've got is like around here, and if we like look at that, it's pretty grey. It's not too crazy dark, and when other people look at your drawing, it makes it a bit more difficult to sort of work out what's going on. Whereas like if you draw pen on top of the important lines, you've got like this big contrast between sort of the white of the paper and your lines. And so even if your underlying sketch is showing through a bit, which will help us out a little bit more, that will still make all of your like actual lines stand out a lot more. And in general, will just like make it a little bit easier for other people to see what you're doing as well.
Another thing you can do, and this plays back into helping us help you a bit, is ask more detailed questions like, why are you posting on this sub? Take a second to think. Did you struggle with something in this piece? Are you unhappy with something specific about it? Is there something you want to do but you're not sure how to go? Is there a step you want to take but you're not sure what to do next? Next time you post here, give us some questions so we can help you. I know it's very easy for someone to one critique and just be like, tell me what you think. But we could think 1,000 different things because critique in its core is subjective. You can do some more objective talking points like traditional anatomy, like real horses and such. But it's all about helping us help you. I don't know if you've watched it, but we have a great video pinned in our subreddit. How to ask for it, how to give it. It's all the good stuff is there. So I highly recommend giving it a watch.
It
so
is very good,
we're
yes.
better equipped to help you. And that's all we really want to do here. That's why we host these streams, is try to help. And sometimes I know personally It's like, this is a really nice drawing. This is very clean. Yes, there's some things that could be, tightened up, worked up, some anatomy that you touched on, but I'm sort of at a loss on to what to really talk to you about in order to help you.
Mostly because the lines look pretty good. A lot of it looks pretty good.
Lines are very
Just
cool.
a bit of repositioning some of the eyes, maybe changing the muzzle shape a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've with these little two horns at the back, I've sort of just pushed the shapes a little bit more. So like, gets thin here, gets thick here, and just pushing the dynamicness a little bit. Like with this horn you've drawn here, it sort of stays a similar kind of a size most of the way through. Whereas like, pushing it a little bit more in terms of like the size can like make it look a little more interesting.
All right, shall we move on?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
We only got one. Oh my gosh. We have only one more.
Oh,
Okay, now, Picardo chat, now is your time to submit 16 different new images for us to look at. Right
You know
now.
what? You're banned.
Oh, okay.
welcome to the band
my bad.
party.
Yeah.
I'll just ban you off, and then it'll just be me.
And you can
Oops.
What
collect
am I
all of
banned
the
for?
non-ad revenue.
For being too fluffy. You
Oh.
clogged up the fans.
I forgot. It's literally an image of this.
So this is by bbun12, and it's lineless bat ponies.
Lineless is cool.
Yeah. Something that sticks out to me right away is, I know it's lineless, but I would still add a black edge to this eye here.
Mm-hmm.
It feels kind of wonky. Same with the one down here. It feels kind of
It's
strange
missing
without
some
it.
shape.
Yeah.
I would use this brown to separate this area. Maybe.
Ooh, yes, that's a good idea.
And also the neck.
Yeah. I think that like one of the main things that experimenting with like lineless styles can like teach you is sort of which parts should have a little bit of separation. Like, there to there, there to there. Doing the separation there, like, basically just like makes it a little bit easier to read.
Yeah, and it's funny. It may be called lineless, but lines are still just as important in lineless as they are in a fully inked drawing.
Drawing.
Yeah, it's why in like a lot of lineless stuff, what you'll have is instead of instead of lines separating this from here, you'll have like
You could
color
also do
differences.
just a
like,
flat shadow there. Just have
Yeah.
a different color in that part.
Exactly.
Maze is
It's-
accurate. If you do want true lineless, everything needs to be separated by weird different colors. In some sort of crazy color. I don't want to say the next word.
Or in full 3D shade
You'll
painterly
still
stuff.
use the lines, I think, even in full 3D. Just
Yeah.
they'll be like when
Still,
when
like,
you
hard
have
edges.
really
Even if
deep
it was-
Yeah.
crease, you'll have
Even
a
if it
hard
was an
edge.
actual 3D model, there are still gonna be like hard edges that separate parts that creates a line or separation like that.
Yeah, I think the key word here is edges. Edges are important in everything, whether, lineless or lined. Sometimes lines bring those edges, but you still need some form of edges in lineless work, which is what, using those different colors to separate the neck area and some of the ears and that nose. You still need some sort of edge to help, the shape.
Unless you want to create some new like artistic impression of like ponies that are reduced to simplistic spheres. And they're just orbs now.
There's still
and
edges.
there's no
in
edges.
Spheres.
Yeah.
The spheres end.
Yeah, the sphere is an edge.
Well, I mean on the outside.
So you take your airbrush.
you could just have a dot. Like, yeah, look, here's a lineless picture. It's a picture of a circle, but it's a lineless picture. Well, actually, it's one line squiggled on itself. You get the idea.
Yeah, I think this sort of an image is kind of a really good step that you can take forward. Like, look at this kind of the critique we're giving, have a bit of a think about it, and where you want to take it, and then keep exploring. Keep try to do like something similar with some of these lines. Try to do something similar with a little bit of shading, a little bit of maybe like just a gradient with some like other little gradients along, and just try to explore some more stuff, because lineless or like sometimes what I try to do is I try to do an image like entirely out of like shapes like triangles or like squares or whatever. It's all just like techniques for expanding the range of stuff you can do, and yeah, just keep exploring and keep messing with it and see what else you can see where you can take it. Basically, looks cool.
All right. Anyone else of any art that critiqued? Any other questions they'd like to ask? I did see a question. Can you ever be too fluffy?
No.
Okay.
CBC says no. So, if there are no others,
So much good art today.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Been a productive Reddit day.
Yeah,
I just
sit in
noticed
the
the
Reddit and
speech
smoke
bubbles
some fun.
on the pony sitting down with them saying, "What are we in line for?" I like that. The free stuffs pony box. Food stuffs. I ate all
Yeah.
the food and now I'm stuck.
All right.
You
Well,
guys
if
are
that's
adorable.
it, thank you all for coming, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye bye.